What's good, everybody? It's your boy JD back with another NBA 2K25 build for you guys. And a few of you guys have asked for an Anthony Davis build, so I got you this Anthony Davis 6'10 build that I made for you here today. Now, let me know down below, since joining the Dallas Mavericks, obviously Anthony Davis has been on a heck of a roll. He missed some time due to injury. Has come back here in the last couple of weeks to play the end of the season and really balled out. Did the Mavs make the right decision by bringing him back, or should he have been just kind of shut down for the rest of the season? I know, obviously, if you're a healthy player, you want to be out on the court helping your team, but the Mavericks probably aren't going to go very far if they would manage to make the play-in, get into the playoffs at all, if they even do that. Did they hurt their draft stock, potential at getting a Cooper flag or something like that? Let me know down below. As being a former athlete myself, I would say definitely if you feel like you're up to playing, you definitely want to be out there doing what you can to help out your team and everything like that. So for his sake, I don't blame him one bit for wanting to be out there. But getting back to the build here, we're going to get in. I'm going to show you this build. I'm going to show you the animations. I'm going to give you a jump shot, everything to go along with it. So if this build does help you out, don't forget to drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. I'm going to do some more gameplay type videos and stuff like that coming up. I know I took a little bit of break here when we did some PGA Tour action, but without further ado, first things first, let's get right into this Anthony Davis build in NBA 2K25. Let's go. For this Anthony Davis build, it's a tough one, and I'm going to show you here after we make the build too, just why making Anthony Davis, Giannis, even Jokic, like those 6'10", 6'11", Paolo Banchero being maybe another one, are so tough to make because of the attribute restrictions that you get at 6'10", 6'11", versus a 7-foot tall player. It's actually kind of wild. So let me know how we did down below on this Anthony Davis build. I think we did a pretty good job here for the most part. Like I said, there's some things I'd like to switch around if I was going to make an actual Anthony Davis build with all the different skills that he has and possesses. But starting down here with the speed and agility, being 6'10", we obviously we want to be able to move around a little bit. We're going 65 agility, 75 on the speed. Now with the strength, I'm going to give you an option here. I'm going to put it at 86 for a default. Now, if you are a vet 2 or whatever, you have the extra cap breakers, you could certainly take this up to a 91, to get the gold brick wall if you wanted to. For me, I have the 10 cap breakers right now. I'm going to use mine in some other spots, but you could definitely, if you have that extra set of 5 cap breakers, which probably many of you do at this point, you could use it down here on strength, or you could move some of these other attributes around and use it in some other places. So I'm going to go 86 on the strength, and then I'm going 75 on the vertical. Again, I think if you're going to make an actual Anthony Davis build, you might be pushing that 80 on the vertical, to get the aerial or the high-flying denier and stuff like that up a little bit higher. But I don't think this is too bad all in all for a 6'10", this type of a build. Moving up here to the offense. Now, this is, again, another one of those things where you got to do a little bit of give and take based on the builder and everything like that. For me, I feel like close shot is a little bit broke in the game. I don't feel like it is all that important. I think 84, if you're making like an inside center at least, something like that. But for this type of a build, I think you can get away with a 75 close shot. Just having the bronze paint prodigy on here, more than enough for this type of a build. Again, this would be, I'm making this one at the power forward position. Again, so if you have an inside center, somebody clogging up the paint anyway, you're going to be doing a little bit more of that slashing or driving to the hoop. So 75 close shot, 80 on the driving layup, so we can get that Giannis driving layup package. Also gets us physical finisher on silver. You can see we get the layup mixmaster on bronze and the silver float game as well. But the biggest thing is getting that Giannis layup package, having the 80 driving layup. You guys know I have a build similar to this. I have that Giannis and a Tacumbo build. I pushed 90 layup on that. I kind of wish I would have only went 80 on it and saved some attributes and went some other places. But 80 driving layup for one of the best layup packages in the game. Now for me, I want to have some basic contact dunks. If I'm going to make an Anthony Davis type of a build, he's been known to put some people on posters, and he's still athletic enough where he can definitely drive to the hoop and do that. So I'm going 82 driving dunk, and then I'm going to use 5 of my cap breakers here to push this up to an 87. That is going to get you silver posterizer, and will also get us the gold aerial wizard. We'll get you some basic dunk, contact dunk packages and everything like that. I'll show you the different packages, the animations, and even a jump shot to go along with this build when we finish it up. So 5 cap breakers here to push this to 87. Then for the standing dunk, kind of similar to what I was talking about with the close shot, we're going 81 on the standing dunk for the silver rise up on this build. We'll also get you the basic, big man contact dunks, as well as some of the nice under basket animations. Again, I'll show you all those here as soon as we are done. And for the post control, I think Anthony Davis, pretty solid in the post. I mean, he's not Shaq or, Hakeem or anything like that, but definitely want to be able to work up in the post a little bit on this. So we're going to go 75 on the post control. That gets us post powerhouse on silver, get you hook specialist on silver, and then it also gets you the bronze post up poet and unpluckable as well. Again, maybe you want to push this one a little bit higher if you had some of them extra attribute points. But 75 I think will definitely get the job done. Moving down into the shooting, Anthony Davis is a really good mid-range shooter, both in that mid-post area, whether it's doing the post fades or just in general shooting in the post. So we want to give him a solid mid-range here. We're actually going to go 85 on the mid-range shot. It's going to get you silver Deadeye, silver post fade phenom, silver set shot specialist, which I think is more than enough for a build that has that 6'10" and above, jump shot base options and all that type of stuff. And then you're also going to get shifty shooter on bronze as well. So if you want to hit some of them fades and do some of that stuff in the mid-range, having that shifty shooter on bronze will just help you knock down some of those. Now, for the three-point shot, Anthony Davis, not a spectacular three-point shooter. He's been known to step out and hit them. Here's where you could save some extra attribute points if you wanted to go a different route on here. I think you could go as low as maybe 70 on your three-point shot. For me personally, though, I'm going to take this up to a 75 for this particular build. And the reason I want to do that is for the takeover options. Basically, once we have our other takeovers on here, you're going to get the glass gunner takeover with the rebounding when we put that on here, which is going to enhance your offensive and defensive rebounding as well as your three-point shot. I just feel like that's a really nice big man takeover to run, and you'll have that by putting that 75 three-point shot on here. If you go below the 75, then you don't get access to the glass gunner anymore, and I'll come back and show you all the takeovers, but that's the main reason why I want to go 75 on my three-point shot here. Now, for the free throw, with a few extra attributes we have left over when it's all said and done, we're just going to take this thing up to a 72. At this point in the game, if you guys play a lot of rec or whatever, if you play park, don't worry about your free throw. Maybe you can slip in a couple extra attribute points somewhere else. But if you play a lot of rec like I do, 72 free throw is going to be more than enough at this point of the year. You should know your free throw pretty well. And in general, just because of how broken free throws are, 72 will be able to get consistent buckets on the charity stripe. So, moving down into the playmaking. Again, nothing too crazy here. We're playing out of the power forward position on this one. If you're going to play the big man in the park on this type of a build, this would also kind of be true as well. But we're going to go 75 on the pass accuracy. That's going to get you silver break starter and silver dimer. Again, I feel like I said, playing out of the power forward position, or if you're playing in the park, 75 is more than enough. I've seen some other builds playing at the center position that have the 75. So I definitely think you can get away with that here. For the ball handle, we're going to take this up to a 71. That is going to get us handles for days on bronze, as well as unpluckable on bronze. Also going to get strong handle on silver. So we're going to be able to move and get some decent animations again, which I will show you at the end of the video. And then for the speed with ball, we're going to take that to a 55. We're not going to get lightning launch in this build, but it will allow us to get some additional dribble moves and dribble styles with having that 75, or with the 55 speed with ball. Now, lastly, moving down to the defense, I feel like if we're going to make an Anthony Davis build, we've got to have a little bit of interior defense on here. We're going to go 82. I feel like that's a pretty good sweet spot to land at. It gets you the post lockdown on silver, also gets you off-ball pest, and then when we pair that with putting an 84 block on this build, you can see we get the silver paint patroller. Now, when I was talking about the three-point shot, if you wanted to lower that down to 70, I feel like you could push this up to 88 to get the high-flying denier, although you also need some vertical to go with that, which is why I ended up settling on 84. I also feel like coming out of the power forward position, 84 block is more than enough on this game. I even see some centers, even in competitive pro-am type builds or whatever, still running an 84 block on here rather than pushing it up to 93 or even like 99 or anything like that. So 84 block I feel like is a pretty good kind of a sweet spot for the big man as far as the block rating goes. Like I said, when you pair that with the 82 interior defense, you get paint patroller on silver, You get pogo stick on bronze, and then you get the high flying denier on silver as well. So you're definitely gonna be able to protect the paint, you know, whether you're helping on defense, if you're playing in the rec or whatnot, like I said, or you're playing as the big man, you know, in the park or whatever. So steel, we're not just kind of doing the minimum big man here. Steel, we just don't get enough attribute points at 610 to be able to push this thing up too crazy high, and I feel like 60 steel is more than enough. For the perimeter defense, here's one thing I am gonna change, you know, more than you might see from a big man. Anthony Davis is a really good perimeter defender, so I did actually use some extra attribute points here. I pushed this thing up to a 72 for the perimeter defense, giving us bronze challenger, silver immovable enforcer, and then I talked about the silver off-ball pest. Like I said, if you wanted to save some attribute points, you could definitely back this thing down and apply them elsewhere, but I think if we're going to try to make an Anthony Davis build, you know, definitely want to have some solid perimeter defense on there. And then last but not least, the rebounding. Offensive rebound, we're not going too crazy here. We're just going to take this up to a 70. And then for the defensive rebound, we're going to push this thing up to an 87. And then we're going to use our other 5 cap breakers here. Remember, we used 5 up by the driving dunk to push that to 87. And then I'm using 5 more here, as we have 10 at this point, to get this up to a 92, which will ultimately get us the gold box out beast. We'll have the silver pogo stick, and then we'll have gold rebound chaser on here as well. So again, if you are a vet 2 and you wanted to use some extra attribute points, I would suggest, you know, maybe putting them down here on the strength to get it to an 86, or like I said, if you wanted to take the perimeter defense down and add a few to the block, you know, push that up to a 93 with some extra cap breakers. Completely up to you. Again, I'm just kind of laying out the template for you guys. You know, kind of the best way I feel like an Anthony Davis type of a build would look, and this is kind of what we landed on. So I feel like the offense is going to be pretty solid. You know, the shooting is going to be good. We had just enough playmaking in there to be effective, and then the defense will be really solid here, being 6'10" as well. And you know, the physicals obviously very good as well. Show you the shades of the build name, and then I'll show you the animations before we get out of here. You can see right away we get shades of Anthony Davis, Chris Webber, and Bam Adebayo, so I feel like the shades are pretty good for this type of a player. Build name you get is going to be a 2-way inside the arc threat. I feel like that's a pretty good build name for Anthony Davis as well. I told you guys I would show you some of the animations and everything that you can get to go with this. You can see the pass styles. You get some decent pass styles at a 75. I like to use the bonus pass style. And then you can just see, like I said, I'm not saying these are the best dribble moves or anything like that, but here's some pretty solid suggestions as far as dribble moves that you could use on a build like this. Having the 70 ball handle and the 55 speed with ball, you see you get a lot of the Victor Wembanyama, Ben Simmons, Zion Williamson, and then a lot of the pro and normal dribble moves kind of mixed in there. Over here, I talked about having that Giannis layup style. I feel like that's probably the best layup style for big men in the game right now. Paolo Banchero go-to shot. The Victor Wembanyama dribble pull-up, they introduced that last season. I really like that one. Again, just some of the other animations and everything on here. As far as the jump shot goes, if you guys have watched some of my other videos, you know, this is the jump shot I like to rock with my big men when I have at least that 85 rating on there. It's going to be the Jonathan Isaac base with the mix of the Kevin Durant and Beluva uppers. I like to run it right about push here, and if we go full release speed with a 50-50 split, you can see over on the right hand side it's got really solid grades, the A+ defense immunity, release height, and then the A release speed. Nice quick jump shot, easy to time, especially if you like the rhythm shoot on big men. So there's a jump shot suggestion for you. And then, like I mentioned, having the different dunk packages and everything on here, once you use those cap breakers to get the 87 driving dunk, you will have the pro contacts off of 2, which you see are currently locked here because we don't have the cap breakers on them yet. You know, I don't use a lot of 2-foot dunks. I like the reverses, the baseline reverses off of 2. And then as far as the one-hand dunks, I like the double clutches or the side big man clutches are pretty nice. The athletic one-handers off of 1. We do not get the pro contacts. You do need an 89 driving dunk and a 78 vertical to get those. So unfortunately, you will not get those. You may have access to the tomahawks here or the quick drops, depending. But your level is currently. As far as the standing dunks, I like both of the rim pull options and then the 2-hand under basket athletic options. Very nice dunk packages. And then with that 81 standing dunk, you get access to the pro standing big man contact dunks, which I feel like pretty necessary on a build that's, you know, going to be 6'10". I don't know why you wouldn't go at least 81. on your standing dunk to be able to get those on that type of a player. And then for some of the signature dunks, you get the Giannis dunk package as well, probably one of the best big man dunk packages that is out there. You get the Dwight Howard, Ben Simmons, I've talked about this in past videos, a sneaky good dunk package, especially for down low for some of those standing dunk animations. And then speaking of standing dunk animations, and you get some decent little tomahawk animations. I kind of like mixing the Shaq one in there as well. For the alley-oops, you get access to the Pro Alley-oops. You will also get the Elite Alley-oops and then the Zion Alley-oop packages, and I believe you get the Pro Contact Alley-oops as well once you have that 87 driving dunk on there with those cat breakers. So that's really all I got for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this Anthony Davis build. Like I said, the 6'10 builds, the 6'11 builds, they're a little tough to make because you're limited on the attributes and everything like that. If you wanted to push it, Anthony Davis build to like a 7-footer or whatever, make him at the center position, I'd probably do the attributes and stuff a little bit different. I'm actually going to bring you guys a center build here in my next video, so definitely stay tuned if you want to see what we can do when we do push those extra attributes onto a similar build to this. But without further ado, this has been your boy JD. Appreciate you guys for sticking around. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.